Alright, in the chat, and I'll also type it in there. When you come in, say, please say if I am coming in loud and clear. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking down on my phone. Okay, alright. So, for the first time in almost 3 years, we're gonna finally have some snow. Unfortunately, we're gonna also have ice with it. But, either way, it's kind of exciting, not gonna lie. But anywho, in this live stream, like I said, we're gonna be tracking that snowstorm and ice storm. And, we're going to be learning about how to stay safe in the winter weather. And if you're one of my classmates, you can pass this along to maybe your parents or guardians. And if you're an adult, this will be useful for you. I'm going to be going over how to drive safely in the snow. And then we're going to be taking a look at the long range and see if maybe there are other snow chances in the future. But let me go ahead and start. like always, we start off with the high and low temperatures. Let me make sure this is correct. Okay, so tomorrow morning, waking up to the low 20s, so pretty cold. And specifically in Greenville, it has a low of 24. We have Charlotte in the low 20s as well. Atlanta a little bit warmer, but still below freezing. And that's going to set the stage for the snow that's going to come in later in the day. I'll get to the timing in a minute. But you can see the high temperature. It looks like the upstate of South Carolina, we have the mountains of North Carolina and northeast Georgia all below freezing all day. So it's going to be a pretty cold day. You can see here in the eastern parts of the Carolinas it gets a little bit warmer, but they're going to have freezing rain later in the day for those areas. And then North Georgia, we can see 30s, but like I said, it's going to cool down as the snow and ice comes in. Right, guys. So we got someone asking about North Alabama. I don't do that area, but I can look at that for sure. I'll get to that in a moment. But first, I wanted just to show you guys, well, make sure you guys learn a little bit, because this is going to be an educational live stream. So, this is a little graphic made by the National Weather Service, showing you each type of winter precipitation. So early in the day, Friday, we're gonna have snow, and you can see that it has to be cold or below freezing, more specifically, all throughout the journey of the snowflake. For sleet, which is also probably going to be something we see tomorrow, you can see it starts out as snow, and then this warm air, or air above 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. The snowflakes go through this and melt into raindrops, but then there's still enough time for it to refreeze back into little pellets of ice. And for freezing rain, which is also going to be something we're going to see tomorrow in the winter storm we're going to see, it starts out as snow once again, and then it melts, but it stays warm through most of the journey of this precipitation until it reaches a shallow area of cold air at the surface, and then that's when it freezes and then causes all the problems. And then, of course, we know rain starts out as snow, but then it just melts and becomes rain all the way down to the surface of the earth. So that was that. Here is the winter storm severity index by the National Weather Service once again. I'm going to be zooming into specific areas. Basically, here is your key. Gray means that you have to expect winter weather, and you have to drive carefully, of course, if you have a car. Yellow means minor impacts, and I'll zoom in a little bit because it's small. But it says expect a few inconveniences to daily life and use caution while driving. So actually, I should have gone over the gray area too. But for North Alabama, here is Alabama for that person that was asking. North Alabama, so most of that area is going to have minor impacts, so expect a few inconveniences to daily life. Some areas to get heavier banding of snow or more ice will have moderate impacts, which you should expect disruptions to daily life, and you have to use extra caution while driving, and closures and disruptions to infrastructure may occur. So in that case, it would be road closures and some power outages. So a few areas speckled in, but it looks like it shouldn't be too bad for North Alabama. If we move to North Georgia, basically all of North Georgia is going to have moderate impacts from the winter storm. And you can even see they're expecting winter weather almost, well, down to Macon, Georgia, so that's pretty impressive. South Carolina, Upstate South Carolina will have anywhere from minor to moderate impacts. Columbia even could have some minor impacts, and then the winter weather area will extend down to almost the low country. And then for North Carolina, the highest peaks will have moderate to even major impacts, which I'm still going to go over it, but no one outside the mountains is really going to have this, at least in the area. It says expect considerable disruptions to daily life. Dangerous or impossible driving conditions are likely. Avoid travel if possible, and then avoid widespread closures and disruptions to infrastructure may occur. But that's way up there in the Smokies, so that shouldn't really affect anyone. And then most of North Carolina is gonna have minor impacts from the winter storm. You can even see that the winter weather area extends to the Outer Banks, so they're gonna have some of that as well. And also, you are welcome for the North Alabama forecast. Alright, so looking at the winter storm warning and winter storm advisories that are in place across the area, I'm going to go over the one in North Georgia first. So it says it's in effect from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. Friday to 7 a.m. Saturday. A mix of multiple winter precipitation types are expected. Total snow and sleet accumulations up to 3 inches and ice accumulations up to 1/3 of an inch are possible. And travel will be hazardous, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The upstate of South Carolina, let's look at that winter storm warning. Same time frame, 7 a.m. Friday to 7 a.m. Saturday. Snow and ice accumulations will make many roads treacherous and impassable, and the weight of snow and ice on tree limbs and power lines could produce numerous outages. Now, personally, of course, they are the experts, but I personally think there's going to be isolated to scattered outages. And of course, we still have a few more hours to track this on the weather models. But that's my thinking. Of course, they are a lot smarter than me, so you probably want to listen to them. But that's the warning for the upstate. The warning for the Midlands. Let's see what it says. It says heavy mixed precipitation expected. Ice accumulations between 0.2 and 0.3 of an inch are expected, with total snow and sleet accumulations up to 1/2 inch. So that's pretty impressive. Actually, no, I read that wrong. It says snow and sleet. I thought that was ice. But well, actually, yeah, the ice is going to be between 0.2 and 0.3, which would cause some power outages and slick roads that way. And travel could be nearly impossible again. And finally, we'll go to the warnings in North Carolina. One for the mountains says between 2 and 8 inches of snow and ice accumulations will occur. Specifically, the ice will be around 0.2 of an inch. So again, treacherous roads and maybe some power outages possible. From 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Friday to 7 a.m. Saturday. And I think at this point we could just skim through the ones for the rest of North Carolina. Basically, same thing. We have snow and sleet accumulations between 1 and 3 inches, and then ice accumulation around 0.2 of an inch. And once again, it looks like about the same for East Central North Carolina. We have snow and sleet accumulations up to 3 inches, and then ice up to 0.2 of an inch. So, yeah, that's it for the winter storm warnings. The winter weather advisories that go for most of North Carolina and then through central Georgia and almost to the low country of South Carolina. These probably also will say pretty much the same thing. I clicked the one in North Carolina and it says freezing rain expected with ice accumulations up to 1/10 of an inch. Let's just double check. There's not too much of a difference. Yeah, same thing for South Carolina, and yeah, about the same thing for Georgia too. So that's that. And we're going to be looking real quick at the snow and ice accumulation here using some ensembles and the high resolution rapid refresh model, which tends to be pretty accurate. It's almost done processing, but this should get us through most of the winter storm. So we'll look at this. I don't have all the products available to me, so that's why this segment isn't going to be too long, but I'm still going to go over it anyway. So this is 8 a.m. Well, I probably should start it back a little bit. Okay, so this is 5 a.m. Friday. We have a little bit of sleet and snow starting to make its way into west central Georgia. This will move slowly to the north and east. So we can see this. This is 8 a.m. Friday. We have lots of sleet in central Georgia, a little bit of snow in north Georgia starting to break out. And then by, I'll move this back a little bit. This is 1 p.m. We have snow starting to come into the upstate of South Carolina. We also have some snow in the mountains. And snow is continuing in North Georgia. Push this a little bit farther into the future. My mouse did something weird. Okay, so we have 3 p.m. here at the timestamp. We have snow starting to become sleet in the upstate, and then it becomes mostly sleet as we get into the late evening, and then some freezing rain starts to come for the area east of Charlotte and a little bit in the upstate, and then it moves to the east, and I'll change the view. So I'll pull this forward for North Carolina. So again, we have the snow starting to really move in by 3 p.m. and it overtakes most of the states by this is 9 p.m. in the evening, and then it changes to sleet for most of the state before the low pressure starts to move away from the southeast and then ends as a little bit of freezing rain. And that's that for from the HRRR model. Now we're going to look at the ensembles. This is an average of, I think, 50 different scenarios. So hopefully that made sense. Basically, there are 50 scenarios with slightly different starting conditions, and all the snow output from those runs are averaged together on this map. So if I pull this to Friday, and I'll set it there. So it has at the peak of the storm around 1 inch, 2 inches in the upstate, 2 to 3 inches in the North Georgia. The mountains will get anywhere from 1 to 4 according to this model, and central North Carolina points west, looks like around 2 inches. And I'll change the view again to see the rest of North Carolina, and it has about a dusting to half an inch for basically the rest of North Carolina, excluding most of the Outer Banks and southeast North Carolina near Wilmington. So it looks bad, but I mean 1 to 2 inches is going to be too bad, especially since we've been without snow for 3 years. So that's what the European ensembles are showing, and now I'm going to show the American one. This one is a little bit more bullish with the snow. It has anywhere from 1 to 2 inches in central Georgia to 3 to 6 inches in North Georgia, so a lot more compared to the European ensembles. The upstates is showing 5 to 6 inches, and the Midlands around Columbia will have 1 to 2. The western half of North Carolina has about 2 to as much as 6 inches of snow, especially in the mountains. Once again, I'll change view. Pull this back. It has about an inch in this area of North Carolina. I think it's called the Triad. And then almost to the coast, dusting to about half an inch of snow. So this model run is showing a little bit more snow for everyone, which is exciting if you're a snow lover. Now finally I'll show the HRRR total snowfall map. And of course, since this is a more accurate model, I'll try to stick to this one, but this one is showing 1 inch to 3 inches in North Georgia, a dusting to half an inch in central Georgia, an inch or two in the upstate of South Carolina, with maybe a dusting to just some flurries in the Midlands, and then we have 2 to as much as, let's see, 10 inches in the very high peaks of the mountains. So still not too bad. It's a little bit of snowy for my house and for most other people, but at least it still shows something. And I'll pull this to the rest of North Carolina. Alright, so it has basically the eastern half of the state is going to have anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, and it shows a little bit less snow closer to the coast. So even at less than 24 hours away from the winter storm, there's still some pretty big differences in the models, but it looks like at least a light event for most of us, so at least it's something. Now I'll take a look at the freezing rain potential for us. Unfortunately, it's showing as much as, let's see, wow, more than half an inch of ice in this area of northeastern Georgia, which would be pretty bad and would lead to power outages and very slick roads. It's actually showing that the freezing rain in spotty areas, which is kind of weird. But to get basically the general idea of this, central Georgia could have as much as 1/4 of an inch of ice. North Georgia could have a little bit of a higher ceiling with that. The upstate, it's showing around 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice. And then in central North Carolina, it has a pretty big ice storm for them too. But we shall see if this changes, because it has been changing a lot. But that's what it's showing as of right now. So for the final portion of the live stream, because I am taking a little bit longer than I wanted to, the final portion is going to be just about safety in the winter weather. So we'll just go over this, and I'll give y'all a few minutes to ask questions if you have them, and we'll end the live stream. So this is a graphic by the National Weather Service office in Greer. So here are the tips that they are telling us about. It says to clean off your vehicle before driving, because the flying snow can cause accidents. Keep it slow on the road, and don't use cruise control even if the roads look wet, and leave extra distance between vehicles and especially snow plows. So that's the first graphic. This graphic is for a more major snowstorm, but still handy. Basically, it's telling you to prepare for winter weather by keeping enough non-perishable food for at least 3 days. Of course, if we have power outages, it doesn't look like it'll last that long, but still, a good rule there. Ensure you have warm clothes and blankets. Make sure you have an updated first aid kit and charge your phone in advance and check for wireless emergency alerts. This is a very long list of stuff to stay safe in winter weather for, and I'll just quickly skim through it for y'all. So I'm just gonna come down. There isn't a huge risk of hypothermia, but here are the signs. You can screenshot this if you want. And if you want the links, of course, I'll put it in the chat. Be safe with your generators. Make sure you have them at least 20 feet away from your house. And make sure you have working carbon monoxide detectors in your house. Keep the generator dry and protected from rain or flooding. In this case, it's snow. Connect the generator to appliances with heavy-duty extension cords. Let it cool before refueling. And follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. And make sure there's nothing else. Right. This is another list or checklist for stuff that you could use in your house. We have a question. I think cruise control is when you actually, maybe I should search it up. All right. Okay, so basically, you just set it to a constant speed so your car doesn't speed up or slow down. So yeah. Good question, because I didn't know that either. Yep, we also got someone answering, so you have it in the chat as well. So of course, like I said before, this is for a big snowstorm, but still a handy list to keep. So foods, dishware, specialty items, a portable radio if you have it, warm clothing, of course, extra blankets, matches, a shovel, flashlights and extra batteries, first aid kit, cell phone, firewood. Then for food, canned fruits and veggies, high energy foods, soups, cookies and hard candy, bread and condiments, cereal and toaster pastries, ready to eat meals, and bottled water, of course. For your car, it's telling you to check your engine fluid levels, test the battery, inspect tire tread, install snow tires. I don't think we'll need that here in this case. This was made by an office in, I think, Iowa, so of course they will get bigger snows. Test your headlights and taillights, and add and inspect a winter survival kit. Make sure you bring a flashlight, first aid kit, snow shovel, ice scraper, blankets in a sleeping bag, non-perishable food, bottled water, booster cables, extra clothing, sand, a cell phone and charger, or a flare. If you needed to travel, once again, I'm going to reiterate that this is for a big event, but it doesn't really take a big event to shut down roads here in South Carolina, so that is another checklist. And then if you have to drive out in the snow for any reason, here are some tips by AAA exchange. Of course, it says to stay at home if you can. Drive slowly, accelerate and decelerate slowly. Increase the following distance between each car. Know your brakes. Don't stop if you can avoid it. Don't power up hills, and don't stop going up a hill. So that is that. And to the last part of the live stream, we are gonna look at the long range. So here is the temperature probability outlook for the 15th through the 19th, and it's showing below average temperatures continuing through that time frame, with slightly wetter conditions, especially in the western half of the area. So this, again, since we're in the heart of winter, this could mean some more winter weather. And if we look at the 17th through the 23rd, the Climate Prediction Center is still showing below average temperatures, which with high or higher than normal precipitation chances. So it looks like this might not be our only snowstorm. Again, I can't say specifics because we're too far out, but the last thing we're going to look at is just the GFS model and the European, just to check for any fantasy runs, which will probably not happen, but can give us an idea of what's to come. So, of course, we have the tomorrow's winter storm, and doesn't really show that much. It does show a little bit of snow, actually, in 10 days on the 18th. This specific scenario will probably not happen, but it shows that, and then that's basically it. And if we look at the European, again, we have that snowstorm tomorrow, and it shows a big ice event way out there on the 22nd, so that's probably not going to happen. But that's also it. So I wouldn't call it officially a signal, but it's definitely something interesting. It's something interesting to keep an eye on. So yeah, that was my live stream. I'll give y'all a couple minutes to put any questions you might have. I'll give y'all till 9:04, I guess. And I'll put a poll up in the chat. Or at least try. Oh yeah, no, we had to go run errands. But at least I still got to go on here, so. Okay, so why is this winter storm so hard to track? Well, there are lots of variables. You could have change in temperature higher up in the atmosphere, wind change sometimes. There's just a lot. Chris would probably do a better job of saying why, but those could be some variables to why it's so hard to track, and just because models sometimes just have a hard time with the mountains in North Carolina and just the geography of the area. So alright, let me see if I can put it at poll. I don't know if I can. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can. I know you can, but I don't know. I don't know how to, so. So, last call for questions. If there are no more, I'll end the stream. So make sure to put them in there. I'll just wait here. Alright, it's 9:04. So there are no more questions, and I'm gonna be ending the stream. So make sure you have everything charged in case the power does go out. Oh, actually, I forgot to show the power outage probability scale. I set it at a low to medium depending on where you are. If you are in Grayville County, like me, this would probably be a low chance. But basically, somewhat wet snow and light to moderate ice accumulation will lead to isolated to scattered power outages. Like the experts said earlier in the winter storm warning, they said numerous power outages, or maybe it's just their wording, but I personally think that it won't be a huge deal. Of course, we still have a few trees that have been weakened by Helene, so that could be a factor. Once again, that'd be a good question for Chris Justice. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully you guys have fun in the snow tomorrow, and if you're not a snow lover, too bad, I guess. So make sure to stay safe in the ice as well. And if you have any more questions, you can comment on the stream. Actually, I don't think we can. You can comment on the community post I put earlier. But I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm gonna try and put out a field update while I'm in the snow. So, bye.